Okay, so let's just go A and X and delete everything from our scene and jump into top view by clicking 7. So now we can go Shift A and then just bring in a plane, and we want to scale up this plane 5 times, and we also want to scale it on the X axis 2 times, like that. Now what we can do is just bring in a camera. If we go Control, Alt, and 0, we can just snap this camera into view here. And just to fine tune the camera view, we can go into Object Properties and then just make sure that we have the entire plane inside this frame here, like that. So next step here is just to duplicate this plane, and then just bring it slightly behind this camera, so something like this. And this second plane here is going to be a particle emitter, and this first plane here is going to be the water. So let's just start off with this particle thing here. So the first thing we need is a particle for this particle emitter to throw out into this or onto this water here. So let's just go and bring in a UV sphere, and keep in mind you can do this with any kind of object. So if you want to go with something more interesting, just do that. So let's just right click onto it and then just go shade smooth, and now we can select the plane, go into the particle properties here and click this little plus icon. So the first thing to do here is go down to render, change this from render as, from halo to object. Now we can just use the eyedropper tool and select our object like that. So if we were to play this, we can see we have these UV spheres coming down. They're way too small, so let's go and increase the scale. And we can also set the scale, the randomness, all the way up like that. So the problem here is that we don't have any control of the speed. So to get some real control over the speed here, what we can do is just go down to field weights and then set the gravity all the way down. So now we have this thing here, these particles elevating up like that. So let's just go and rotate this plane around 180 degrees. So we have these particles elevating in the right direction here. You can also see that these particles are stopping here at a certain invisible line, and that is because we have set the lifetime to 50 frames. So let's open up the timeline and set, I always like to work with more frames, so we're going to use 1000 frames, especially for these kinds of animations where we have one object moving a long distance. Need, or at least it is smart to use more frames. So what we can do now is set this, let's just make these particles here into a perfect loop as well. So what we can do then is set this frame start to -500. We can set the end to 500. We can set the lifetime to 500 just to make it easy. And now we can see that these particles here are not going all the way down to this plane. So what we can do here is increase the speed by opening up this physics tab and go to integration. And if you play around with this time step number, we can bring the speed up by just increasing this number here. So I'm going to set this to 0.1, maybe a little bit too fast, but you can see. And by the way, if this particle system here is hicking up, what you want to do is go into the numbers. This is just, I don't know, maybe a bug or something, but you need to change the number like that, and then go into the timeline and set the particle system to the first frame. So if it hicks up, go and change the number and then bring it back to the first frame like that. So now we have this these particles coming down, and the thing here is this is completely overload for this ocean plane that we are going to make. So Blender in this area is not advanced enough to make 1000 or 999 ripples. So we need to bring down the number here to get this working. So maybe something, let's go with 50 here. And then we can bring it down. Now it's time to, let's just finish up this looping particle system here. So since we want to loop this particle system, we want to duplicate the particle system. So we want a second particle system overlapping with the first one. And to do that, we can just click onto this plus icon here. And we can go down to this little drop down window and then go to duplicate particle system and then select the second particle system. And also, really important, remember to click this little icon here for new particle settings. So now we have two particle systems that are different but with the exact same settings. So the second particle system, since we want it to overlap with the first particle system, we can make the frame start to 500, like that. And the little weird and confusing trick to make this particle cell loop is to go to the end number of the second particle system and multiply the frame start number with 3. So let's set this to 1500, like that. So now we have a perfect looping particle system. If I go all the way back here to the end frame, you can see when it comes into the first frame, it just continues on. So that's great. So now what we can do is create this water thing here. So let's just select this plane, and to make this work, we need to subdivide this mesh. So let's go into it and then subdivide, click on this little left black box here, and then set the number of cuts to 100. Yes. So now we can select the particle system and go into the physics here, and we're going to click on to dynamic paint. And this plane here is going to function as a brush. So change this from canvas into brush, and then just go add brush, like that. So now we can go and select this first plane, the water, and click onto dynamic paint. And this is going to be a canvas, so we're just going to leave it on canvas, and then we can go add canvas here. And here we can change the surface type. So you can know that this displace thing here works pretty good. This weight thing and paint, I'm not too familiar with, but let's just go with waves here. So now we have made this ripple effect onto this plane. But to make this work with a particle system, we need to do a little bit more monkey business. So let's select this plane here and go into the particle properties. Let's go into the physics. And here we need to go down to source and change this to particle system. So source from mesh to volume to particle system. And also we need to click on this second drop down window here and select the particle system one more time. So now if you jump into camera view here, you can see that nothing really happens. Maybe we need to reset the particle system, but we're going to start off with just increasing the scale here of the particles so we actually can see something. And this is also a nice thing to know. So let's go down to scale and set this to 0.5. That when you do something in one particle system, when you're looping it, you also need to do it in the second one. So let's also set the scaler to 0.5 and then go to the first frame in the timeline. Let's see if we have some ripples. And we don't. So let's select the plane here, go into the physics again, and surface type waves. Okay. So maybe I'm just going to try to select this particle system here. There we go. So I selected the wrong particle system here at the second one. So just same happens to you. Just make sure that you go for the first one here. So now we have these ripples. And as you can see onto these ripples here, they have a lot of visible or geometry. So we want to make these ripples completely smooth, and the way we can do that is by going into modifiers and then go down to subdivision surface. This may not hiccup, but it may slow down the computer a bit. But if you want these ripples here to be even smoother, when you render it out, you can just increase the number of subdivisions here to maybe bring it up to something like 3 or 4. So now we have this really cool looking effect there. And from here, you should go into physics properties and play around with all these different values here. So if you set the time scale, for example, to 0.5, these ripples will move slower. So these are just a bunch of different effects that you can play around with to get the style that you're looking for. And let's also just make this water here real quick. So let's jump into render mode. And we're gonna go into shader editor and change this into world. And what we're gonna do is just make a super simple border. And this border that we are going to create becomes alive from the HDRI, the lighting of the HDRI. So this is actually a super simple way to create really cool and realistic looking water. So just search for an environment texture node, and then just connect the color into the background like that. And here I'm just gonna use a bunch of these HDRIs. So I'm just gonna use this one. You can leave a link in the description if you want to go to Polyhaven and get this exact one here. So this may take a second or two to load. So I'll take a little sip of coffee. Okay. So yeah, there we go. So now what we can do is go into this HDRI and just select it and go Control and T to bring in this Node Wrangler add-on. And here we can just move the rotation of this world here. So maybe you can see what happens. You see that the world here, you can just move the world around like that. So here it's just about finding a look that you want to go for and increase the strength like that. And also maybe play around with different HDRIs as well. So now if we go and select this ocean plane here, we can just create a super simple water looking surface. Just bring the metallic up, then just bring the roughness down, that. And we can also set the base color to sort of like maybe light blue. And we also want to bring up the light, so let's go into the world and then just increase the light so we can see what's going on here. Then yeah, to play around the colors here a bit. Maybe also this HDRI, get the effect that we are going for. So from here you need to play a little bit around with this effect to get it where we want it to be. But this is the basic setup, and yeah. Now for also here you can go and just really simple select the object here, then select the plane and go Control and L, and just link the material like that. So now we have this pretty cool looking thing here, like that. So I think that is it. If you can like and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. Have a great day and peace out. Okay, so I want to show you one last thing here, because this is just a really nice little trick to play around with different kinds of styles when it comes to this water ripple effect here. So if I open up the world here, so as we did earlier, we brought in an environment texture node. But what you can do instead of using an HDRI, you can just use a random image. But you need to play around with it a little bit to get something cool. But exactly the same procedure, just go in and bring in any kind of picture. Then go to the mapping and play around with rotation like that. Now we just have a completely different style. So just a really extra little cool trick for you there. Peace out and have a great day.